And going back to less is more.
Oh yeah, going back to less is more.
Going back to less is more.
He wanted, like, what do people tell you, like, when they're done? I imagine the feeling must be bliss. So that is super rewarding for you, and I'm sure it's very emotional for them to feel, accomplishment. I love it. They say that, like the feeling that you get when you're finally, you feel like your space is yours and clean. And so tell me, what do people usually say?
No, people love it. You feel so much lighter. And I think also with that sense of accomplishment, it's like, here was this thing that has been hanging over your head that you've been saying every weekend, you're going to do this and you're going to clean it out and you're going to declutter it for months, years, and then finally it's done. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore. That's such a relief. It's so lovely too, to walk into a room and have everything be where it goes. And to be able to get dressed in 60 seconds and find whatever you want, that I think is really satisfying, because, there's the organizing to make things look really beautiful, which I love to do, but then there's also the organizing for function, to be able to say, oh, okay, I'm going on this trip, I need my passport, I can find it in 30 seconds, all of those things we get it. And I always tease too that it's so much, you have a problem, you go to therapy, it could take years for you to figure that out and feel, get to the emotional and mental point that you need to get. But with organizing, it's like 5 hours. In 5 hours, you feel great. It's so much of a relief. So often too, when we work with people, the partners in the household, maybe they have different clutter tolerances, where the clutter bothers one but it doesn't bother the other, and then it causes an enormous amount of discord. It causes all sorts of resentment, and so we go in and we solve that problem. We save marriages,
Exactly.
So it's really it's this amazing feeling, because one of the things that I've really learned from all of this over the years is that the stuff is the problem. And it's not the problem for everyone, but by the time people call us, it's because they've bought things thinking that it's going to make their life better, that, it's all of the aspiration. But the reality is not everything does. And we commit to something and we spend money on it, and then we think it has value, and then it doesn't work out, and we don't want to admit to ourselves that we wasted this money, and so it sits there. And then it makes us feel guilty. And then you have to buy something else to make it work. And it's just this downward spiral. And so when all of that is not there, and when there's no reason to point your finger at your spouse who you think isn't cleaning up or is cleaning up too much, all of that is lifted. So it's a very satisfying process. Our clients, they're thrilled, and it's really very fun. I get calls. I think some of my favorite calls are from the parents who we've worked with to downsize or to declutter the toys, and we're encouraging people to. We know, my organizers and I know, that having less really makes life easier and it makes life better. And it's something that we deeply believe. It's maybe not for everybody, but it's something that we deeply believe. And so we're working with parents, decluttering the toys. There's so much of a mess. Everybody in the household is so overwhelmed by it. And the parents are getting a little nervous that we're giving away all the toys. What is my kid gonna play with? And there's a lot of reassurance of like, no, trust me, they're not gonna miss it, they're not gonna ask, they're gonna be, and I'll get calls, I'll check in with someone the following week, and my son came home from school and he sat and played with his trains. I've never seen him sit for longer. And it was because there wasn't clutter everywhere. He had a few things that he loved, and it was clear, his mind was clear, the space was clear, he could spread out, he could really focus. And I love those conversations, because as we're doing it, I'm like, listen, I know you're please trust me. Please trust that they're not gonna miss it. They're gonna have plenty to play with. And those are really, and then I called, they're like, it was amazing. I've never seen him do this before. And there you go. It was like, okay, because the stuff is the problem, and it's the problem for you, and it's the problem for him. And, now you can enjoy your things again because you have less of them and you can find them easily.
Right, maybe she didn't even know they have that toy set because it was so hidden, and now you have it. So now, to finish, give me like your 5 most popular organizing tips that somebody that is not an expert can do.
Okay. So my number one favorite organizing supply that everybody, everybody needs to have is a garbage bag. It's cheap, it's easy, it's everywhere. Start any organizing project, you start with the garbage bag. So that's number one. The second one is if you're overwhelmed, break it down into smaller chunks. That cleaning out one medicine cabinet is progress. You know, it's a process, and little wins add up to big wins. So if you're overwhelmed, you know you need a change, but you're overwhelmed, like clean out the junk drawer, clean out a medicine cabinet, you know, throw away expired makeup. You don't need to spend 8 hours to get the results. And then the other, I would say number 3 is don't start with the container. That's the container, buying and organizing supply or a container should be the last step.
I like that.
First, start with the declutter, decide what was really needed and important, and then buy a container to maintain the system. Don't say, I need to be organized, and go to the container store and buy $400 worth of things, because chances are you're not gonna need them. So garbage can, small wins are a great way to declutter your entire house, and don't start with the container.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I can't wait to have you with one of my clients, because I am already visualizing how
I love it.
it's
Yeah.
gonna be for you and for me and for everybody, because it takes the stress out of a very big and uncomfortable situation for most homeowners, that they don't know what to do. And if you bring them that, I think it's definitely a value added for us, for our clients, and for everyone. So
yeah. Especially when you're under a time crunch.
Exactly. No, and because people can say, oh yeah, I can do it. Yeah, you can do it, but is your sanity worth it? I mean, giving it to a professional, I think it's key. It's key for marriage and for well-being.
Well, and I always tell people too, you know, like, I can do math, but I always hire an accountant to do my taxes, you know, because I don't have the time, I don't have the expertise, I don't have the time. I know it's going to take me so much longer to figure everything out. Right. But again, I can subtract, I can multiply, you know, like, so it's the same sort of thing. If you want something done more comprehensively, more quickly, and to have it done, then hiring an expert is the best way to go.
Absolutely.
And in the case of your clients too, they're going to get their money back, because as you know, you're going to get more money if the house is decluttered and looking good and looking spacious. So it's not just about feeling good in the house that we've organized, it's about making money from the whole entire process.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because people say, no, I'll cram everything into the closets. That's the first thing they say. Don't do that, because then people are going to say, oh, this house doesn't have enough space, because they're cramming everything everywhere. So you can't just do that. It has to be organized. It's so nice when they open the closets and they see it beautifully. They love it. All those little things count.
Well, and that's it. I worked on a house. I worked with a realtor a few months ago on a house that he wanted to sell. It was this big, beautiful house in Miami Beach, very spacious. But you walk in and there was this huge pile of toys. It was very open, and there was this huge pile of toys. And my thought was, okay, this house is going to go to a family, because I think it had 4 bedrooms. You know, a parent is going to come in here and they're going to see this pile of toys in the living room and think, okay, there's not enough, this house isn't big enough for my family, and they're going to move on.
Right.
And so homeowners, they're used to that. Maybe that worked for the family that was living there, but it's not what buyers are interested in, and they're going to think completely differently. And so having experts come in who think in more sort of objective ways and can see the bigger picture and say, listen, this is whatever we do, we need to get rid of this pile of toys, because this is going to create maybe like a false narrative about your house that people are going to think it's not big enough. And this is a 5,000 square foot house. Of course it's big enough. So it's those little things that homeowners aren't necessarily thinking of that we can bring to the table, and that, you know, we could work together to make people realize, okay, we're going to get your house moving more quickly by implementing these small but important changes.
Of course. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I know now I imagine at the beginning of the school year, maybe you have a lot of people trying to get their house in order after a messy summer. So
it's been a whirlwind of a summer, but yes. No, thank you. This was really fun. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.